Hi, friends. This is Shane Stevenson here at the Buffalo Naval Park, and going to be bringing you a pretty comprehensive discussion on today is a very special day. It's an anniversary of the loss of the USS Juneau. Discussion on today is a very. Does someone have their YouTube on?
I think we're getting in.
Yes.
That was me.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, everybody. Thank you. We'll start again here. So, a very important day today. It's the 83rd anniversary of the loss of the Juneau. And this was, you'll see James in the lower right-hand corner, James from All American Travels. He's worked with many museum ships around the country. And we said, what can we do to bring this story and to continue to honor the Sullivan brothers and others from the USS Juneau? And so we brought in Nick Erickson, who you've seen in prior videos with me, and he has gotten his coworker Pat Kinney in the lower left, both from the Grout Museum District, right, boots on the ground in Waterloo, Iowa. And then we will have a very special guest, Kelly Sullivan, granddaughter of Albert and her great uncles. And she's actually giving a presentation now, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Right out there.
Yep. So
Wow.
then she will be joining us again to give the family perspective, and her story is so poignant and so important. So why don't you guys just introduce yourselves, and we can start from there.
Hello, my name is Nick Erickson. I am the registrar here at the Grout Museum District in Waterloo, Iowa. As the registrar, I am in charge of the object collection. That is the what we call the three-dimensional collection, the artifacts, the stuff. We have an archivist here who's in charge of the paper records.
Excellent, thank you. James, do you want to say hello? And
Sure. I'm James. I'm the host of the All American Travels channel on YouTube. I do these sort of live streams with guests from other museums as much as possible. A couple I've done. Coincidentally, this is also the 1-year anniversary of the very first live stream that Shane and I have done together.
right?
So I've done some, yeah. So I've done some with Shane. Shout out to Tim Nesmith and Park Stevenson over at the USS Kidd. Done some streams with them as well. Matt McClooney over at the USS Alabama, and hopefully we'll continue to grow that list. So
yeah, great. Thank you. Thanks so much, James. It's been great working with you and you bringing your audience along for the ride in the museum ship world, which is a very passionate world. And Pat Kinney, yes. Pat Kinney, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been at the Grout Museum, Sullivan Brothers Iowa Veterans Museum since 2018. Before that, I spent 34 years at the Largo Cedar Falls Courier, the newspaper here in town, which has the same corporate owner as the Buffalo News now, by the way. And I did a lot of stories on the Sullivans over my time, a lot of anniversaries, talked to Juneau survivors, Kelly Sullivan, her dad, and I grew up here, so it's kind of by osmosis. I kind of got into telling the story of the Sullivans. So
yeah, that's so very interesting. And when Nick and I were talking yesterday or the day before, I would love to hear your guys' perspectives. Being from Iowa, Pat, when did the story of the Sullivans hit your ears for the first time?
I don't know. When I was a little kid, we went to the memorial at Sullivan Park. There was a long time when there was a long quiet period with the Sullivans, the 70s and 80s, when Alita and Genevieve passed away. That got some attention, but it really kind of revived itself when they renamed the convention center in town here after the Sullivans, and that kind of got the ball rolling. And then Ed Gallagher was a prominent attorney in town and was a Navy Pacific War veteran, and Roger Olson was another Navy veteran. They got together and built this nice addition onto the Grout Museum District. This is the Sullivan Brothers Iowa Veterans Museum, and things have taken off from there in big and small ways. We have a veterans coffee every Wednesday. It started with about half a dozen vets, and we draw easy 50 every week, and they have service workers and counselors and everybody come and activities, and it's just a really nice place for the veterans to hang out. And that's just among the other things we do, plus educating the kids too. We have a museum school program now, part of the curriculum. The kids get to come downstairs and meet the vets. So they get pretty well schooled in not only history of the Sullivans, but the importance of what veterans do.
Awesome, thanks so much. And Nick, for yourself, when did the Sullivan story hit your ears for the first time?
I moved to Iowa when I was in the second grade, and my first exposure was when my seventh grade history teacher played the Caroline Spine song in class and introduced us to it then. So my introduction actually came a little later than most Iowans' introduction come, at least most Northeast Iowans.
Understood. Great, thanks so much.
Waterloo and Black Hawk County school kids. Every third grader, as Pat was saying, spends a whole week here every year.
Right, very nice, very nice. Thank you. James, do you have any questions for the guys?
Well, personally, of course, Shane, where you and I are familiar with each other, I'm very familiar with the Buffalo Naval Park, but this is sort of an introduction to the Grout Museum District to me, and I would imagine for some of the people watching as well. So if Nick or Pat could elaborate on what exactly is the Grout Museum District.
We're a campus of museums in downtown Waterloo. We have 2 Victorian homes, a local history museum. Until last month, the Children's Science Museum, but because of budget cuts, that closed, and we're working on moving all the exhibits and everything that we can out of that building, bringing them over to the History Museum, the Grout Museum of History and Science, named for our founder, Henry Grout. It has nothing to do with adhesion or tile or anything like that. We're going to reopen the Science Museum in part of the History Museum building. About a quarter of it is getting converted back into the Science Museum. The Science building is going to get torn down. And then, yes, since 2008, we've also been home to the Sullivan Brothers Iowa Veterans Museum. If there's anything you want to add to that, Pat, you go ahead.
Nope, that sounds about right. The oldest part of the museum was founded in 1956. Henry Grout was a developer and builder, and he just accumulated a lot of stuff. When he was digging foundations, he'd find fossils, arrowheads, all kinds of stuff and historic things, and accumulated this big collection. And the museum was more or less kind of founded out of his estate. It was around for a while, but it moved into a physical building in 1956. So we have a 70th anniversary coming up next year.
Oh, wow. Thank you. This is, we have a lot to cover, everyone. So settle in and enjoy this discussion. Again, please leave comments. Many of you have already done so. Please leave your questions and comments. But talking about the Juneau and the world it was kind of born in, we have a few pictures of the Juneau. There's plenty out there. And again, this was the ship that the 5 Sullivan brothers were on. 2 of the 4 Rogers brothers were on. They actually split up. There were 4 brothers, 2 disembarked, 2 stayed on board and perished. And of course, for the Buffalo specific people, there were 2 members. There are 2 ships company from Buffalo that were also lost on the Juneau. So taking a look at some photos here, cruisers have a long history going back to, and a lot of people when they visit say, what does it mean to be a cruiser? Well, based on naval strategy, it was meant to go out to commerce raid, to be able to hold its own against many different types of vessels. And if not, if it couldn't sink it, it was able to steam away from it so as to protect itself. As you talk in the interwar period, you got to talk about the treaties. There were the 3 treaties, 2 treaties with third not officially signed, but the cruisers are kind of born in this early 30s murky world of, okay, we have limits on battleships. Now they're going to want to put limits on cruisers, destroyers, and submarines. Vincent Trammell Act in 34 comes along. That's going to theoretically bring the U.S. Navy up to treaty standards. You're also talking underage vessels versus overage vessels. And do you scrap overage or do you just build new underage vessels? And also tied to Britain, because the ratios were 5, 5, and 3, basically for Britain, America, and Japan. We had to kind of consent to what Britain's needs were as well. And so we're looking at Japan, saying this could be a potential belligerent against us. Who is Britain looking at? They're looking at Italy and Germany, building all of these things well beyond treaty limits. So different strategies, different platforms that are needed for Britain and America, and they had to try to tie together. So the General Board asks, the General Board of the U.S. Navy asks for some preliminary sketches. First thing is the speed that they want to address, make sure that the cruisers can be up potentially faster than other belligerents. And of course, second most important would be the armaments. So the General Board asked for sketches of a 3,000 to 3,500 ton destroyer leader. They asked for a 5,000 to 5,500 ton light cruiser, and then a 7,500 to 8,000 ton general purpose cruiser. Again, addressing speed and armament. Well, by 1936, 26 different sketches were provided. And so the Juneau and the Atlanta and the further-ons in that class became an amalgam of a destroyer leader and a cruiser. All right, but they also, as we tragically see, especially with Atlanta and Juneau, that they didn't really know the missions as of yet of what these ships should be doing. Are they destroyer leaders? All right. Are they steaming with a destroyer squadron and then could, use their 1 caliber ship to attack multiple destroyers? Or are they going against surface vessels of Japan and Germany, of the cruisers that are a little bit heavier? So they don't really know until really the loss of the Atlanta and Juneau to say, okay, we need to pull them back and use them in this one particular way. All right, so they did go for 1 caliber as opposed to 2 caliber ships, just to fit that tonnage that they needed.
Shane, just a quick question for you. Do you know how many ships were in this class and how many of them were lost in the war?
Well, I think there's 4 of the original construction. Then they did 4 follow-ons, and the first 2 were lost, Atlanta and Juneau.
Okay.
And they were lost in the first battle that they participated in. Nick and I were talking about that yesterday. So to be lost in the first battle, surface battle, is pretty startling. And I think the U.S. Navy recognized that and made wartime modifications to the follow-on ships to make sure that they were not put in that situation again.
Right.
So this is where the Juneau is born from. The treaties, what is Britain doing? What are Britain's needs? What are America's needs? What is Japan doing? What is the tonnage that we can use? What is the calibers that we should have on 5-inch, 6-inch? And then what is the ultimate mission of these ships? And so that's when the boys join. Captain Swenson, who you'll learn a lot about, has a tall order. So any other thoughts or questions about that? All right.
Yeah, we noticed, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You mentioned that the first 2 sink, and the important lesson to take away from that is, it's the first 2 sink, but it's 100% of all the Atlantas that engage in surface combat are sunk doing so the first time they do it. And it's just astounding. It's a question of what do we use these ships for?
Yeah.
And Captain Swenson was worried that the ships were going to be misused. He wrote that letter to the Bureau of Ships. Were you coming to that, Shane, that letter?
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, after her shakedown, he writes a letter to the Bureau of Ships expressing his concerns that her turning radius is too wide. She's not maneuverable enough to conduct ASW, which is kind of like maybe what she was planned for, right? and he's worried that she's going to get misused as like primarily an ASW vessel. She ultimately is misused, just not in that same way. She's misused in a slugfest, out of necessity, of course, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay. We do have we've got a question from Matt Dominique. Is there a Mustang hanging from the ceiling?
Oh, it doesn't
Yes.
look like a question. It looks like he's jazzed about our P-51.
Okay, good. So there it is. All right, that's great news. Okay,
That Mustang is a to-scale replica of a plane that was actually flown by a pilot from Mason City, Iowa. His last name was Abernathy. He oversaw when we put it in place at the museum, and he also donated film from his gun carriage in the wings of his plane. So we've got video of his plane hitting ground targets, like blowing up trains and things like
Oh,
that.
nice. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So yes, please head over to Iowa and go visit. All right, so I'm going to bring up the next PowerPoint. All right, and then this is for Nick and talking about, we're going to go very comprehensive into the life of the Juneau, life of the five brothers, of course. And again, hopefully you'll get a lot of great information. And thank you to Nick and to James and to Pat for being here again one last time before we kind of sink our teeth into everything here. So you should see that. If you want, I can remove all the people and we can just have a full screen, but you'll be able to hear Nick. So let's try this for a bit.
Great. I threw these pictures on the beginning of the group of pictures that I sent to Shane because we had just gotten done talking about Juneau, and I thought this would meld well with Shane's, but I probably should have put them later in the presentation. Anyway, so this is Juneau's commissioning program, February 14th, 1942. Now, ultimately, when Juneau goes to Guadalcanal, she's going to have 697 men aboard. This is not 697 men on this crew roster on the commissioning program. We skipped the page. There's a page of officers that comes before this for size. We skipped that one, and most of the officers are accounted for. But look how small the crew list is. I haven't counted this. I don't think Shane has either.
So basically what we're looking at is the ship's crew that have been assigned to the ship prior to the commissioning, and then there was another edition of the commissioning crew. I mean, is that what we're seeing here, right?
Yeah. And so I use the Sullivan brothers as an example. They're there on commissioning day, but they're not in the program.
Yeah.
Because they didn't arrive in time for the programs to get printed.
Yes. And this is the only page. Let's make this clear. That you don't turn the page and there's more. This is the whole ship's company as you see it listed in the book.
Are the Rogers brothers on here?
I will, as we go through, I'm going to bring that up and bring it up Zoom a little bit more. Okay. So so this is a PowerPoint, so I'll be turning the slides here. So what do we have here, Nick?
So Juneau's captain was Lyman K. Swenson, and he'd been in the Navy for almost 30 years before. He was from Utah. That's a picture out of his 1929 government passport. Photographs actually taken aboard Juneau are actually kind of rare, right? We have the commissioning photographs, but photographs of especially interior spaces or even on the decks are pretty gosh darn rare. Now that's we're not using stage directions here. So as the viewer, as you're looking at the picture, on the very left is Captain Swenson. Then there's an admiral who I don't know who he is, and then there's a commander there. That's Commander Bob Moore, the executive officer, and then another commander. I don't know who he is. This picture was taken on the superstructure deck, what otherwise is referred to as the O1 level, but it's the superstructure deck on plans for Juneau for some reason. This is right below the pilot house. So the pilot house would be way above the top right corner of the photograph right there. And she's wearing her measure 12 with splotches, I think is what it's called. And Shane, was Juneau the first ship commissioned in camouflage? Somebody told me that one time, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's hard. Yeah, I can't answer that. I would have to do a little more research into that. I'm sure there's someone in the audience that would know that question, vernacularly, but to actually look at all of the construction, say from when steel ships came into service, that would be a difficult question to answer. But it's a great project for someone. All right, can we cycle through?
I'm going to take a shot in the dark here. I just wanted to point out that it looks like this camo scheme is the same camo she's wearing for the picture of the ship that we used for the thumbnail.
Interesting. Yes. Captain Swenson must have really loved camouflage. There were like 3 different designs in 9 months, right? There's
so maybe it's not the same one.
There's a splotchy one. Then he has the one with the bow waves going across on the hull, but then the top was camouflaged. So the question would be, what is she during commissioning, right? And there are pictures on NavSource about that. I just don't have it offhand. And then they went to straight gray, like I showed in the Juneau presentation. That was during a Battle of Coral Sea, where it's taken from a plane, from the Hornet, looking down, and that she's just straight gray pretty much in that photo. So just requested a lot of paint, from the supply ships.
But to this day on her wreck, she's got the bow wave pattern on her hull and that splotchy pattern on the superstructure.
Yeah, and I'm thinking
repainted again.
Let me go back to this one real quick. So this is October 26th, right? Or somewhere around there. Unless I'm just missing something, which I could very well be, that looks gray to me. But I
looked at this picture and I thought the same thing. But her wreck is camouflage.
Can it be the paint has worn off? Like maybe they put a quick paint.
Or the photo didn't capture it. The sun, the light, or something.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that could very well be. I mean, you see some discoloration on the hull here, especially towards the actual literal bow wave towards the front. You kind of see that lighter line, the dark right at the shear line going down, and then coming from the water line up, you can kind of see that discoloration, that two-tone. But for the superstructure and the turrets, but again, I mean, we would have to zoom in, get this at 2,000 DPI, and zoom in as close, to a foot or two to really try to.
Isn't this photo already zoomed in like a bunch?
Yeah, that picture looks like it's already been enlarged.
It is. I'm saying the original. We would have to get the original, but yeah, this is a zoom in again. It's available on navsource.net. They have a farther out picture and a zoomed in picture. And this is when they were steaming to the aid of the Enterprise, because they heard over the radio chatter that, the Hornets planes were meant to report to Enterprise, and the Juneau thought it was a directive for them. So they kick it into high gear, as you can see from the rooster tail there in the wake, and they're steaming to aid Enterprise. Even though those orders, they misconstrued those orders for them, not for the Hornet pilots to say, come to Enterprise. Okay.
Very embarrassing mistake.
I can believe it. All right, let's keep going here, guys. Thank you.
So I should say I'm a registrar, so I'm sort of a bean counter. I don't usually do broad narrative. I'm showing you these pictures here, these images that we have, because they're part of our collection, and I really want to highlight these for you folks. They don't often get seen. But if I get caught down in the weeds, we have Pat, the reporter here, to bring me back to the surface, make sure we're telling a real narrative here. So the Sullivan family were Irish Catholic working class folks, descended of the O'Sullivan clan from County Cork in Ireland. Came here in the middle 19th century. Ultimately, Tom and Alida Sullivan, that's that picture on the left there, they settle in Waterloo. Tom gets a job on the Illinois Central Railroad, and between 1915 and 1922, they have 5 sons, and then they have 1 daughter, Genevieve. For the sons, the birth order is George, Francis, Madison, Joseph, and Albert. But you can call them Georgie sometimes, Frank or Frankie, Matt or Maddie, Joe or Red, and Al. Now they had one daughter. Sorry, they had a second daughter in 1930. Her name was Kathleen, and she died very early. She was less than a year old, about the same age as my twin boys, actually, of a respiratory illness. And I don't know, I'm guessing that this photo of Tom on the right, maybe he's holding Kathleen. I would like to think so, but I'm not certain. He could be holding somebody else's baby. But the age Tom appears in that photo leads me to believe that it's not early enough to have been Genevieve in that photo, right? But that's just a guess. Let's move on. Let's see what's next. The boys grew up in the Depression in northeast Iowa, for Iowa, the Depression started right after World War I and a farm crisis there. So there were not many opportunities, but they had an uncle, their father's brother, George, had some land up by Harper's Ferry, Iowa, and they spent summers there. So here we have them probably in the middle 1920s or so. Top left is George. The bowl cut, bottom left is Madison. That's Al, the youngest, in the center. And that's Red over on the right. Remember, Red is Joe. And Frank doesn't seem to be here in this picture.
Gotcha. Next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
They grew up primarily in a house at 114 Newell Street. That's the color photo up there. I think that picture was taken in the 80s. That house actually still stands. And then in the early to mid 30s, I forget the year, they moved to a house on 98 Adams Street, which is really close. It's only a few blocks away. The Sullivans, for their whole lives, lived on the periphery of what's called the Northeast Triangle in Waterloo. That was the area where Waterloo's African-American population was sort of redlined into, and then surrounded by other communities of, for the period, of America's less desirable populations, Irish included. And they were, of course, counted among that group, strongly identified as Irish Catholics. They were a little more well-off than the people living around them. Their father had a better job at the railroad. They owned a car, for example. Now let's move on. Oh, and that 98 Adams house is going to be the site of so much grief following their passing in the Second World War.
Do you see the question there from Anna Thomas 8265?
No, the house is not protected. So the 98 Adams house was torn down decades ago. Pat, do you know the year that the house was torn down?
It was sometime during urban renewal before the park dedication, which I think was 1964.
Yeah, that sounds right. The 114 Newell house is not protected. It's a rental property now. And I don't know what to do about that. Don't want to publicize it too much. I mean, there are people living in there. Maybe what would a landlord do if he realized? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I'm just the registrar. But if that episode in the movie is real, where the brothers cut a hole in the house to make a woodshed or whatever that scene was, that would be in that house. So
that would be in the Newell house.
That'd be in the Newell house. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, that's the real childhood home.
You bring up the movie. I do have a quick question about that. Since we were kind of going through some of the nicknames the boys had, Al in the movie, they called him Small Change. Do we know if that was a real nickname the brothers used for him?
I don't know anything about that, but the family were consulted for the film. Whenever this is spoken about or written about, and it says 20th Century Fox used the family as consultants, the next sentence in any book usually says, this is more for publicity's sake than in any actual practical function. I don't think that's true. I mean, a whole bunch of what happens in the movie is true to life, like ish, right? It's Hollywood. But for example, the whole movie was filmed in Santa Rosa, California as a stand-in for Waterloo, and the interior of the church that they used for the film is almost a one-to-one copy of St. Mary's, the church they attended in Waterloo. In fact, there's a lot of folks around here who actually think they filmed those scenes in St. Mary's, and they didn't. That's not possible. The film was made in like 4 weeks, all inside November of '43, all out in California. It would be in the newspapers if they brought the whole production to Waterloo. It would be in our museum, but it's not.
Got it. What do we got here, Nick? Yeah, we have a lot to cover today.
We do. This is the raft packing plant. According to its own 50-year anniversary booklet that was published in, I think, '43, the largest meat packing center in the United States. When the brothers had a job, they worked at Raft, and they didn't always have a job. Come on in.
Got my dad too.
Oh, my goodness. What is he going to do? Other?
He's watching the movie.
Kelly's here.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Kelly.
Hello.
What a pleasure to have you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Hello. We've got a bunch of people online, and so here we have Kelly Sullivan joining us. You were just at an event just down the hallway there or something.
Yes, absolutely. I just did a speech. I'm going to grab my dad in a minute too. He's the only child born of the 5 Sullivan brothers. So there were 5 boys: George, Frank, Joe, Matt, and Al. And my dad is the only child with 5 boys. So
yes,
he's in watching the movie The Fighting Sullivans, but I'll go grab him because that'll be cool.
Awesome.
All right, I'll be right back.
Thank you.
How about that for an awesome surprise?
I know, right? It was going to be James and Shane, then we got Nick, then we got Pat, then we got Kelly, and now we're going to have Jim. We're going to have Jimmy, who I've never met. I've met Kelly a bunch of times. Jimmy's been to Buffalo maybe 3 or 4 times in his life, especially when the Sullivans 537 arrived. But I never have met Jimmy face to face. So, he's older. Is he 84 or something like that? Do you guys know? He's about 84.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, this is very exciting. So, boy, what are we going to do with the PowerPoint now? How do you think?
We're just going to keep going.
Okay, we're going to keep going. All right. So we'll introduce Jimmy, or let's keep going now, everyone. We're doing this on the fly, so bear with us, of course. So let's get back to the slides here until they arrive. Meat packing plant. All of them worked there at one point in their lives, all the 5 brothers?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, they didn't always work, but when they did, they worked here. They didn't always go to school, but when they did, they went to St. Mary's for grade school, and they went to East for high school. Not all of them went to high school. None of them finished high school.
Yes.
Which is not, it's not that was common for the time, but it was not atypical. Especially among farming families around here, 8th grade is just about as far as you went.
Yeah. Well, we've got some comments. Didn't know there was only one child. Yes, and they will tell that story better than any of us could. But of the 5 brothers, there was only one offspring, and that was Jimmy to Albert, the youngest of the 5 brothers. So you'll hear more about that right from their mouths themselves. So what do we got going on here?
Well, I was just talking about the scant opportunities, right? So in 1937, the 2 oldest, George on the left there, and Frank on the right there. And look at Frank in that photograph. I love this. If you have any doubts about the hard living that men had to contend with in the 1930s, that man is in his early to mid 20s in that photograph.
Yeah, he looks like he's about 40.
Yeah, he looks good 10 to 15 years older than what he actually is.
Absolutely. Oh, good. I see some action. Here's Jimmy.
Oh, we have Mr. Sullivan.
Yes. Hey, Eric. Hey, Nick, can we move those Post-it notes?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me bring this right up here.
This is amazing.
See. What a pleasure. Oh, what a pleasure.
Right there, Dad.
Mr. Sullivan, hello. Hello, how are you?
Say hello there.
Hello.
Hello. So I'm Shane. I'm from the Buffalo Naval Park, home of DD 537. You've been to Buffalo a few times in your life since the ship arrived. So, but we've never officially met, and it's such an honor to meet you, sir. Even if it's from a distance. And thank you for today is monumental day for your family. So thank you for participating in all of the events with your daughter, Kelly.
Thank you very kindly.
Dad, Shane, I'm a big fan of Shane's. He's quite wonderful, and I actually think of him as a brother, a little brother. I think I'm older than you, I think, but he reminds me of my brother John. Just a great guy, and when I go to Buffalo, I get to hang out with him.
All right.
So it's really nice, and sometimes we'll share a pint, which is nice. Yes.
Very nice to meet you, sir. James, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sir. Mr. Sullivan, Kelly, my name is James. I'm the host of All American Travels channel on YouTube. Quite familiar, or as best I can be, with your family story through Shane. I've done this format with Shane a few times, but I just what a pleasure and an honor to meet both of you. Thank you guys for joining us.
Well, thank you very kindly.
Yes, sir.
So
And
right
of course,
now,
Pat. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just
Hey,
sitting
Pat.
upstairs. I'm just upstairs from you guys. You get a little crowded down there.
Nick, you were going to say something?
yes. Okay, well, listen to me, wider internet. I've never told the story of somebody's family while two members of the family are sitting right here. So I don't know what to do next. So we're just going to continue.
Sure.
If I get anything wrong, you must stop me. You must correct me.
You got a couple of good fact checkers there, Nick.
Yeah, he's got some fact checkers.
You've got the ultimate fact checkers right here.
So you'll see that we're going through, Mr. Sullivan and Kelly, we're going through some pictures, and we're talking a little bit about your dad and your uncles, and then we're going to be talking about the sinking of the ship, and then depending on time, we can bring it into the DD 537, DDG 68, and go from there. But please feel free to add color to this story, please.
Okay.
So let me bring back the slides.
We just arrived in 1937 when the
Okay.
two oldest boys joined the Navy for the first time.
Yep.
And we were talking about their sort of general lack of opportunity in Waterloo and how they had to look elsewhere, right?
Right.
This is common for Iowans in the period. Join the Navy, see the world, right?
Yep.
I'm going to move a little over here. Jim, do you mind moving to your right so we can get Kelly back on camera?
Well, he's the handsome one now.
There we go.
Great.
That's right. Yeah, that's a Christmas card that George sent home.
Oh.
George and Frank, in their first stint in the Navy, also served on the same ship. That's USS Hovey DD 208, a Clemson class. This is for you ship nerds out there. During the time that George and Frank were on Hovey, she was one of two Clemson class in the Navy to be converted so that her battery was 4 twin 4-inch guns. Really unique configuration. That was done away with really quickly because they weren't dual purpose guns, and the Navy switched all to dual purpose. 2 years later after that configuration was
Yep.
yeah, but an incredibly powerful little ship, and with a lot of the rest of the Asiatic fleet, it was also sunk in the Second World War. And we move on, I think.
Okay. Oh,
So there's a picture of George at the left on the after deck house. That's secondary auxiliary steering there. I don't know who the other two guys are. I don't know what the newspapers are doing on the deck. Are they shining shoes in this picture?
I don't know. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
That's not one of those shellback ceremonies where they
Shellback.
phase them across the equator, is it?
Yeah. I'm guessing it's a shellback, but I don't know.
Yeah, good call. Good question. It's just great to see them just out in their tropical uniform, though, too.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
This is the only picture that we know of either George or Frank in that, like during that first stint in the Navy on their ship. If anybody has any other pictures, you know where we are. Yeah, you can move on. There you go. Okay, so this is a letter that George wrote to a friend of his named Dee Dee Nick. I think she lived in San Diego. Now, what I want to point out here is, well, two things. George has signed it George Thomas Sullivan, the Irish Buckaroo. Oh, excuse me, the Irish Buccaneer. What am I saying?
Buccaneer.
Yeah, right. Now look at how he makes the letter T whenever it begins a sentence or when it is at the front of his middle name, Thomas. He makes the letter T with two legs.
Yeah.
So 27 years ago, Kelly's reading the letter now.
Yeah, no.
I can get you.
No.
When we're done, I can get you the letter.
Yeah,
You read the whole thing.
It's right there in the office, I'm sure, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, this spring, we're going to get an intern from you and I. And for the first time, we're going to get, hopefully, every Sullivan document fully cataloged and digitized. That's my goal for spring semester of 26. We'll see if that happens. We have a new online collection now, which you can find on our website on the front page. We'll get everything. There's almost nothing there now. I'm hoping to get it there. Check back in 6 months.
Right.
Anyway, move on to the next slide. So when George was in San Diego during his first enlistment, he swapped hats with another sailor. So this is George's Dixie cup that was donated to our museum in 1999. And if any of you are wondering, is this a fake? Look at how he's made the T, right? This family was not related to the person who he wrote the letter to. He also signs his name, George Thomas Sullivan, on other letters. He always makes the two legs with the T, and that's how we're, at least that's how we're authenticating the writing in the hat.
Right.
Interesting that it's not a stencil, though, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. This is Navy Mothers Club, Yarnell, Chapter 66. On actually the day that they were dedicated. This picture was taken in Independence, Iowa. It's about 30 miles east of Waterloo. Admiral Harry Yarnell was present for this dedication ceremony. He was from Independence, Iowa. I think his distinction, claim to fame, is that he war-gamed Pearl Harbor like 15 years before it happened, or something like that. I probably should have looked that up before we did this presentation, but that's Navy Mothers, Yarnell, Chapter 66. Alita is a color bearer. She's at the far right, holding the flag there. Her best friend is Nellie Turner. She's at the far left, holding the American flag.
Oh.
Genevieve is at the center of the photograph.
Yeah, so their sister, Genevieve, is the dark-haired lass right in the middle there.
Okay.
And Nellie Turner comes into play later in the slides. Isn't that true, Nick?
That's right.
Yep. Okay, good. Let's see what here. Oh, love these.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. These are sort of a random selection from the Pearl Schrader photo collection. These were donated to the museum in 2015. Never before seen photos from this 1937 to 1941 period. We know that because Frank and George don't appear in them, and everybody looks the right age. So in that big photo on the left, Pearl Schrader is holding the cat. Catherine Mary Sullivan, Tina to her friends, is the other standing woman in that picture. And then her husband, Albert Sullivan, is there at the far right. And that's Jim's parents here. Genevieve is down in the foreground. Madison is down in the foreground, and that's Tom in the back. At the top right is a fantastic photograph of Tom and Alita. We're so used to seeing photographs of Alita after her sons were killed, when she's in the depths of her depression and the depths of her grief. And it's great to see photos like this, where she's smiling. Shane, in the past, you've said you can darn near date a photo of Alita based on her her disposition in the photograph.
Yeah, usually.
And then down at the bottom right is Genevieve on her brother's Harley Knucklehead. Red was a motorcycle enthusiast and an early member in Brokaw's Black Hawk Motorcycle Club. Is it Pat? What's Brokaw's first name?
I don't know that, Nick.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. There was a fellow named Brokaw who owned a motorcycle dealership in town who started a motorcycle club so that he could sell more motorcycles. And Red was one of the early joiners, and it all grew up around them. Eventually, George is going to join in that brief period when he's home at the end of his first enlistment during 1941.
So we should point out that on the right-hand side of the larger photographs, you've got Albert and Catherine Mary, and Jimmy is their offspring, and Kelly is the granddaughter. So it must. How does it feel to see pictures? And you've probably seen these images before, but how does it feel to see pictures when they're youthful and young, and before potentially, before Jimmy, you came along, things like that? How does that make you feel?
I like it. I
Good.
really, yes.
A lot of these pictures we actually haven't seen because there's just not a lot out there that the family had, but people donate them. So these pictures are fantastic because there's people in the community that donate them. Have you ever seen that picture, Dad? Because we just got that 2 years ago in 2023. So it's neat because we haven't seen those, but it looks like Grandma. She's so pretty. I love how she looked when she was young.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had such an interesting, just a pretty face, very youthful looking, and
Yep.
Yeah.
very good. We'll continue on here.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. This will take some explaining. This is complicated. Okay, so, well, not this first one. Anyway, so what we're going to listen to now is some audio that was made on Friday, July 11th, 1941. So I have put photos here of everybody who's in this particular piece of audio. So starting on the left, we have George, recently come back from his enlistment. We have Al, who's this is a later picture of Al, obviously.
Yeah.
And then at the far right is their friend Jack Kolock. Jack Kolock was something of an audiophile, and he had an audio recorder. So this recording was made late one Friday night, July 11th, 1941. Everybody's back after their shift is done at the Wrath packing plant, and they're three sheets to the wind.
Mm-hmm.
They're singing a song here. I think you'll all appreciate what it is. Notice how they've begun singing before Jack can push record on the recorder.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute all of us, and then I have the file, and I'm going to play it. So just give me a minute. I'm just going to mute everyone's microphone, just so that the sound can come out clear, and then we'll. Oh, I muted my microphone. Okay, let me try that again, everyone. Sorry. Let's try this. And give me the thumbs up if it's good. Okay. I can't. I can't. Okay, everyone. Sorry, that was as loud as it could be. Maybe we're being a little ambitious with the audio files here, but that was Irish Eyes when Irish Eyes are smiling, and I made it as loud as I could. So sorry about that.
When we practiced it earlier, it was perfect. I want you to know that in case maybe there's like some setting that before we went live, when we practiced it, it was great.
Yeah.
Maybe it's my earphones. Maybe I should, because I don't know if I don't think I have my earphones.
Can
Okay.
you try playing it without muting anybody and maybe
Okay.
the way they were when we practiced it, and maybe that'll do something.
He's muted. I can't hear him.
This is funny. This is pretty funny. We're live.
Yeah, I was still need to hear okay.
He's muted himself again.
No, I think because he took his headphones off, it's on a different setting.
Yeah, I think when he unplugged his headphones, it auto muted him.
Yeah.
There you
There you go.
Yeah, do it.
How was that?
That was perfect. That was
Okay, good. All right, so let's move on. Now let's play. So what do we got going on here? Because we have a few audio files. Let's.
the next part on the same track. So he just stopped recording, and now they start singing another song. Again, he's too late to push record when they start singing. But now there's a female voice you're going to hear here. Okay, the female voice belongs to Helen Leet. Now, if you've ever read any books about the Sullivan brothers, be it, say, Jack Satterfield's book, We Band of Brothers, or Kurzman's Left to Die, or Kucklick's The Fighting Sullivans, there is a person that each one of those authors interviews named Ruth Leet, right? This is Ruth Leet. This is an important missing piece of the puzzle. Okay, so in the 30s, her name is Helen Ruth Leet. She doesn't like the name Helen, but everybody calls her Helen, right? In the 90s, when she was doing interviews with these historians, she went by Ruth and didn't tell any of them that she's Helen in the 1930s. So Helen and Ruth are the same person. Now, during George's first enlistment, a sailor named Droughty, who's actually I think he's a local guy. Pat, there's a sailor named Droughty who was from Waterloo. Is that Jim Droughty or John?
Yeah, there was a big Droughty family in Waterloo.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, this guy witnesses George get a tattoo on his arm in like San Diego or Hawaii or something that says Helen right on his arm. And none of these authors who were writing in the 90s had any idea who Helen was. I've spoken with Helen's daughter. It's clearly her. Now, at the time this recording was made, she's Helen Kolak. She's married to Jack. So there's something complicated that went down before 1937 that we don't know what it is.
Okay.
But, yeah, just know that.
Right. So we're ready. So we've got Mr. and Mrs. Kolak, so to speak.
Yes.
And then Albert and George.
Now, to know the difference between Al's voice and George's voice in this next clip, when they're done singing their first song, George is going to attempt to sing When It's Roundup Time in Texas, right? Audie Murphy tune. And then Albert is going to attempt to sing it when George fails because he's too drunk. And then so first George, then Albert, and you'll be able to tell their voices. All right, go ahead, Shane.
All right.
With a half pint in Milwaukee, I'm coming back to you. With a half pint in my pocket, and my eyes are black and blue. I'm a friend of Al Capone, and I hope that you are too. When it's springtime in Milwaukee, I'll be coming back to you. When it's round up on Texas, the bloom is on the stage. I would like to be in Texas, just riding on the rain. Feeding a bacon fry and drinking coffee from a can. It is breakfast time. Early morning, with the coffee out of the sun. Oh, good. Goodbye now.
Okay, so yeah, there's some giggling, there's some laughter. Nice. And again, thank you everyone for cranking up that volume, putting out headphones maybe when you wouldn't normally. That's the. Hey Nick, are these files on YouTube?
Oh, they will be. They will be. We got the first one uploaded to YouTube. We'll get the rest of them uploaded.
Very good. Okay, thank you. So what do we have? We have 2 more audio files. Let's check. And now we've got these
We're
3.
going to leave the last audio file to way later in the presentation, but this one, we don't know the date this was made, but this one is the Colocs and Frank. Now, Frank is going to tell a funny story about a guy he knows named George who tried to raise some rabbits. I think this must be Uncle George from Harper's Ferry, but I don't know. Now, I need to warn you guys that it's really hard to tell what George is saying, but this is the only known recording. Frank, excuse me. It's really hard to tell what Frank is saying. The audio is not very good, but this is the only known recording of Frank Sullivan's voice. So we're going to play it anyway.
Okay. Oh.
All right. Rabbit. What about rabbit? He had a showboat here. The guy, the main person in the show, his name is George. Oh, they had a bunch of rabbits. Him and his wife, they got in a hell of a row. Anyway, the guy's worship just kidded the hell out of it. He gets mad every time I say it. Why I say rabbits, he gets mad every time. Why? So you know what I mean, see? Oh. But I show that. What they have about the rabbit? Oh, I forget now.
Well, how come they can't tell about it?
Well, his name is George.
Oh.
George the rabbit? No, George. He is her husband's name. Oh, I see. You want to raise rabbits? Oh, you know how it is. You spend more of his time with the rabbits than with her. Well, he's all right. He's smart. That's the way it goes. Why are you mad at that? How about you say it? Next rabbit, you get mad. You'll tell everything you know. Why don't you know things now?
I just need to get about using off the thing, too fast, and
It's amazing, isn't it? It's just like kids today sitting around a kitchen table, playing around with their cell phone or something like that, and doing goofy, fun stuff that kids can do. Maybe they don't have any worries or cares in that world. You know, it's so
It's a
interesting.
talented recording, isn't it? It's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Mr. Sullivan, how is it to hear your uncle's voices and your dad's voice, coming through the computer as best as it could?
I like it. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
I'm just love it.
very good.
That's the first time he's heard it. He's never heard this before. So it's his first time hearing his dad's voice. And of course, since you were 14 months old when your dad died. But it's amazing to think about the fact that they had that technology. Because nobody had that technology back then. The only reason why they had it was because Colocs were so involved with music.
Mm-hmm.
But a normal household didn't have that capability in the late 30s, early 40s. So thank goodness for the Colocs for being musically inclined people, because that was a very rare thing for a family to have around. So.
Yeah, their daughter Bonnie Kola goes on to be a jazz singer. She recorded a couple of albums in the '70s that they're pretty good. "Roll Me on the Water" is one of them. So everybody look that up.
Great, thank you.
A quick question concerning the recording, and has it ever been? Have you guys ever attempted to submit these recordings to someone who can? And I don't know what the profession, the name of the person would be, but someone who can clean it up and maybe distinguish some of the parts where you can't really make out what he's saying in it.
Yeah, that's. I mean, so like no-ish, but that's next, right?
Okay.
You just heard is what the University of Northern Iowa could pull off of the record. I was having a hard time doing it myself. So that recording, as bad as it is actually we actually did get some assistance to get that pulled off of the record. But yeah, the next step would be submitting those digital files to somebody to remaster it.
Gotcha.
Maybe the Library of Congress could help. Right.
I never even once considered that. Like, what do I do? Call them up?
Yeah, just call up LOC. Say you have recordings of some of the 5 Sullivan brothers. Yeah, they'll kind of jump on that, I would imagine. Thank you. So let's. What do we got next?
Yes, this is Bill Ball. Unfortunately, the picture of Bill Ball I have is behind glass, so you're seeing a reflection of a cabinet behind that. But Bill Ball was a friend of theirs. He lived in Fredericksburg, Iowa, north of here. And they were baseball buddies. They went to dances together. He was Genevieve's dancing partner. And actually, if we try to reel back some of the myths here at this museum and get to the real stories. A lot of people are very cavalier in describing the relationship between Bill Ball and Genevieve. I'll tell you right now, it does not seem like they were dating, but they were almost certainly friends. If they were dating, or I have sometimes heard engaged, that would have made the newspapers, right? If Genevieve grieved Bill Ball's passing, and he died at Pearl Harbor, is what I was building to. Excuse me, I'm not good at this. Bill is going to get killed at Pearl Harbor. If Genevieve grieved, she did not do so publicly, right? She did so darn near in secret. Okay, so Bill Ball is their friend from Fredericksburg. He served on the Arizona with his brother, Maston Ball. Bill is killed in the attack on Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. And he is cited by the brothers in newspaper articles after they've been inducted on January 3rd, 1942 in Des Moines into the U.S. Navy as the reason they joined up. And that's factual. Though we will, when the brothers got news of Pearl Harbor over the radio, like everybody else, they were at home. So was one of their friends, Paul Hamilton. That's Red's friend from the Black Hawk Motorcycle Club. And he said he witnessed them all decide to join up that morning, after they heard about the attack on the radio. They could not possibly have known that Bill Ball was killed, not in that moment. But they decided to join up then and there. When they found out later that he was killed, it only doubled their resolve.
Quick comment on Bill Ball. He perished on the Arizona, did he not?
Yeah, I hope I said that.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, just to confirm. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Did his brother make it out?
His brother did live. Yes.
It's an interesting connection, Shane. The 2 of the 4 surviving Fletcher-class destroyers out of 175, they both have roots on the Arizona. Rear Admiral Isaac Kidd was the Arizona was his flagship.
And then the Sullivans with Bill Ball and the Arizona.
Yes.
Yeah, good point. That's worthy of another video.
Yeah,
it is.
Some point in the future. Yeah, absolutely. To dig deeper into those relationships. Yeah, very nice. Well, this is a fabulous photo of the boys. What do we got going on here?
This photo was made in January of 1942. They're in Des Moines on January 3rd. So I don't know the date this photo was made, right? But it's probably the last time they're all together. This was taken the same day as another photo of the entire extended family gathered around a couch. Do we have that one in the slideshow or not? It doesn't
No,
matter. That's fine. I think they must have snapped this photo and the other photo of the extended family before they head to Des Moines for induction. So this is it. This is the last. This is actually the last time they're all at home together. They get leave in May, but only half the brothers come home.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so they join up on the 3rd of January. They get 4 weeks training at Great Lakes, just 4 weeks, right? And then they go to the fleet. That's right. So by contrast, George and Frank, when they were with the Asiatic Fleet in 1937, they got something like 4 months training, right?
Oh.
Yeah. But this is a national emergency, isn't it?
Yeah.
And while they're at Great Lakes, they write an astounding amount of letters, as everybody does. And this is one of my favorites. Now, I included this letter in the presentation, knowing that Kelly would be here, because this is one of my favorites. This is a love letter written by Frank Sullivan to Wilma Richmond of Waterloo. And I want to ask Kelly before I read I read the parts that I like the best in this letter. Is that all right? It is a love letter.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
We're romantics, aren't we, Dad?
I'm going to pull up. Oh, oops. There are some details in the letter here that I can't see on these slides. So I'm just going to pull up the one that I have on the computer. So bear with me for a second. It's all right. We had to fit these on the slide somehow, didn't we? On the PowerPoint. All right, here it is. Okay. This is one of my favorite. Not only is it my favorite Sullivan brother letter, this is probably my favorite letter in the entire museum collection, right? So this is from the first page. Oh yes, you said you heard I had a girlfriend. She's just a friend, and she's a nice girl, but it's different with you. I really did fall for you in a big way. First time I seen you, and I still am the same way. I meant it. Whatever. I meant it. Whatever I told you, I meant it. I only hope it's the same way. And in this sentence, listen to this. Don't you worry, though, honey. There's no one else I know of that I fell for around Waterloo except you.
Oh, that's great.
And then he said, wait. I hope you don't think me silly talking this way. But I'm just trying to tell you how I feel about you. And probably I'm doing a heck of a job at it. But it's going to be you all the way through for me. You remember what I told you. You might thought I was mad at you. Well, everything I said still goes. And I skipped a part. Well, whatever. There's a part here where he says, don't listen to anything unless I told it to you first. And I'm on the spot, so I can't find it. But he writes so much that he has to write up the side of the letter. Gee, kid, thanks a lot for those 2 kisses you left on the outside of the envelope. Only I wished I could collect personally. And then at the bottom, he says, oh, my love, always, Frankie, XXX. And then also sideways, squeezed into the corner, he says, also, you're an angel.
Oh, also you're an angel.
It's such a good letter.
Boy, these are some great lines. I'm going to have to include those.
So much about this story, if you wrote it, I know there was a movie, and the movie was corny, but if you put the real life into a movie, it would be just as, can you imagine putting this letter into a movie?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Anyway, it's my favorite.
That's good.
Yeah, we can move on. Go ahead.
Good love story.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this next little fragment of a letter here is a letter that Frank wrote to his friend Barney in Waterloo. And again, it's like they had a screenwriter writing these letters. So Frank says to Barney, after all this business is over and everything, you'll see 5 Sullivans coming up your lane from the gravel road, coming to greet you, all with victory in their eyes. Like, what a...
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like the way the
So
movie-
that's, that's like, yeah, that's like supreme confidence in
Oh,
what they're about ready to set out to do.
That does bring up a question for me. Do we know if not Al, but the other brothers, were any of them in very serious relationships? Were any of them engaged? Anything of that nature that we know of?
You're looking at the product
we know
of
for
Albert the
certain
youngest.
that
Yes.
So
Yeah,
Albert
so
was
besides
Albert. And, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
No.
And Jimmy and
Okay.
Kelly.
Yeah, besides Albert, yes. Red was engaged to be married by a Pittsburgh native, to a Pittsburgh native named Margaret Yaros. Beyond that, nothing's really confirmed.
Madison
There's
supposedly,
in Thursday,
Pat's got something.
listening.
Madison supposedly was seeing someone from New Jersey named Beatrice Imperato. I think her photo's in one of the books.
In Kurzman's book, that's right.
Nice Italian girl. Nice.
Well, their pictures were all over the newspapers, so a lot of people don't realize that the Sullivans were quite famous before they were killed. So the Navy saw it as a positive public relations opportunity for them to get people to join the military and join the war effort. So they were all over newspapers, and so boys started getting love letters from all over the United States. It was kind of like eHarmony or Match.com, for them. They were getting letters.
Yeah.
And so that Margaret I had the opportunity to meet her daughter when I was out in Pittsburgh to do a speech. And she said her mom was always scared of water. After her love died, she wouldn't go near water. And she always asked, she didn't know why her mom didn't like water, but it was because she was always thinking of Joe's, her fiance and stuff. So, yeah, so that's how they met those girls, was girls wrote them letters and they corresponded back and forth. And then Joe got on a train and went to see Margaret, and when he had leave when he was in New York, and then eventually proposed before he went to the war.
Kelly, you want to talk about that brooch or pin you got?
Yeah. So when I was out in Pittsburgh, and that's a crazy story. So there's a priest that I met, Father Vince Koloff. I can't say his last name. Vince, I can't remember his last name. Anyway, he would preach in prisons, and so he would tell the story of the Sullivans to the prisoners out in Pittsburgh, and they were just moved by it, and they wanted to know more, and it really spoke to them and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Oh, okay. Go ahead. He's got a bad cough. Oh,
Sorry.
no, you're okay.
Sorry.
I'll come get you, Dad.
All right.
You okay right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
So
be all right.
anyway, you'll stay right there though, Dad. Okay.
I will.
Don't go far. He would talk to these prisoners and talk to them about the story, and they were so moved. And then the priest ended up writing me a letter. So we started writing letters back and forth. And then he invited me out to Pittsburgh to do a speech, but he surprised me, and he had a great big gathering of people who, of people who had served on, who had family members that served on the Juneau. So it ended up being a great big reunion of family members who all lost someone on the Juneau. Anyway, Margaret Yaros, or Jaros's daughter, was there, and she had a beautiful brooch, like just a beautiful brooch that was from the 40s, late 30s, early 40s, that she presented to me and gave to me, and my great aunt Genevieve had given it to her mom. So Margaret and Genevieve became good friends through correspondence and emails and things, or not emails, letters, of course. And So she was actually going to be in the wedding. So they were hoping to tie the knot in Waterloo, and she and Margaret had become friends. So her daughter gave me a brooch that my Aunt Genevieve had bought. So I think about maybe my Aunt Genevieve bought it here in Waterloo at a jewelry store, send it to her future sister-in-law. You know, they're building this relationship because when the war's over, she's going to come back to Waterloo. So we have another letter that Joe wrote, and Joe says in it, do you think Genevieve can get Margaret a job at Rath Meatpacking Plant? Because the boys all worked at Rath. And so, you know, he was all excited, like, let's get her a job at Rath. Let's move her to Waterloo. And then he says, we want to tie the knot in Waterloo. And then he says, one of these days there'll be another little Sullivan running around to be with little Jimmy. So, you know, and it's got Juneau stationery on that letter. So you think about this sailor in his rack, thinking about hoping to come back and get married and have babies. Yeah, it's really emotional. That letter really always gets to me.
Do you want to come back, Jim?
Yep. You want to come back? Or are you ready to head out? Okay. He's going to stand right there.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're that's so interesting because you're now beginning to see the intertwining of the families, and that's very poignant to today's. You know, and we do have a comment. You mentioned about emailing, and so yeah, someone's saying letters are preserved, where tweets or texts or emails don't really get archived in the same way as the letters do.
I have a question.
Yes.
Was Genevieve when you were born, Kelly? Was Genevieve still alive? Were you? And if so, did you have a relationship with her?
Yeah, no, I was a baby when she passed away. She died young, right, Dad?
Yeah.
She died quite young of cancer.
Cancer, yeah, I think.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But she was married to Murray Davidson.
Yep. Why don't you sit in this one, Dad, and then you can get up if you have another coffee.
And did Genevieve have any kids?
Yes. She had two boys.
Yep.
And they are still alive. Is that correct? They're in their 70s now, I think, or something, or somewhere around there.
Like that, yeah.
Yes, Murray and Tom Davidson. Yep. Neither one of them married, and neither one of them had kids. They were bachelors, but they've lived together their whole lives. They are now in a wonderful nursing home that takes really great care of them, and they are roommates. They still live together, but they always lived with their parents their whole lives. Yeah.
I believe Genevieve may have passed away in 1975.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
So I would have just been 4. I don't remember her, but Dad, of course, knows his aunt.
oh yeah.
Yeah. She was beautiful. So pretty
Yes,
lady.
she was beautiful. Absolutely. You're a trooper, Mr. Sullivan. Thanks for being here again. You know, and thank you for spending this extra time as we're getting through to the later evening for being here. Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. Carry on with the PowerPoint here.
Yeah, I want to make some comments first, though.
Yes.
Forgive me, Shane. So Kelly, speaking about the brothers' fame before they were killed, reminded me that we breezed right over a question that somebody had asked at the beginning of this presentation, is why the brothers were allowed to serve together on the same ship. So they go to that recruiter right after, that's the local recruiter in Waterloo, right after Pearl Harbor. Their induction is delayed because Al is married, and I don't really understand the mechanics of it, but that caused their induction, because they insisted on joining up together, to be delayed. In that time, George writes the Navy a letter requesting that when they're inducted, they all be allowed to serve on the same ship. That's the famous letter where he says, we'll make a team that can't be beat. Now, here's a crazy detail that we learned here at the museum when they were, I say we, I wasn't here, in 2008 when they were planning the museum. The Navy clerk who opens George's letter at the Bureau of Navigation in DC is one Joseph Coleman. In the 70s, Joseph Coleman becomes CEO of Philip Morris, and he makes some very controversial comments on television about smoking mothers who have small babies or something, how that's like not a problem or something, whatever. That's a digression. But Joseph Coleman, future CEO of Philip Morris, opens George's letter at the Bureau of Navigation. He opens it up. He says, absolutely not. And he puts it in the reject pile, whatever, right? He rejects the request for them to all serve on one ship. And in a few minutes, his immediate superior comes by, picks up the letter, reads it. He says, no, we're putting them on the same ship, because he realized the propaganda value of them all serving together. And the Navy capitalized on that between the time that they were inducted and eventually went to the fleet.
Mhm. Thank you. That's a great story, and it is a little murky unless you're right in the collections and right there. That is a little murky story. Well, let's see
Quick
here.
question here, if you don't mind. Going into the movie for a minute. Towards the end of the movie, when the boys are enlisting, the movie implies that Catherine Mary, Al is going to stay behind because he's married. He has a young child, Mr. Sullivan here. And in the movie, they show Catherine Mary. She essentially urges him to go, which she eventually does. Do we know at all if that really happened?
Yeah, it did.
It did, yeah.
Didn't it, Dad?
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell them what you know, Dad.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know any more than you do.
Yeah. Well, I remember my grandma telling the story. She said, we didn't, as Americans, didn't know what we were getting into.
Mhm.
They knew that it was a war, but they didn't really realize how difficult it was going to be. They didn't have the television and things like that. So I think they also felt like they were unbeatable and that it wouldn't be long. It would just be a short stint and then they would come right back. And she would joke and say, I've been married for a little while. I just thought I'd get a break from him for a couple months. She did. She laughed about that. She said, had I known what they were getting into, I wouldn't have done that. I would have encouraged him to go. But she said, I just thought I'd get a break for a few months and then he'd come back. And that's what they thought, because usually you go away to boot camp or whatever, you'd be gone for a little bit and you'd come back. But she definitely told me, I had no idea how difficult this was, what they were going out into. And so that's why she encouraged him to go. But she also talked about, their bond was something unique. It really was. And the movie, The Fighting Sullivans, does a good job of showing that. But they were best friends, and they did everything together. And the people that have talked about the boys, if you saw one of them, you saw the other. They were never apart. And that was really what they wanted to do. That's they wanted that, didn't they, Dad?
Yes, they did.
That's what they wanted. And then she said that too. She said, I remember thinking, if he doesn't go and something happens, what life would be like for them, and how he would feel, the guilt he would feel that he didn't go with his brothers. So I think she thought about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure she did.
Yeah.
Mr. Sullivan, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, of course, but what are your memories? If you're a year old, you probably don't have many memories like that, but do you have segments or fragments of memories around this time?
I don't know that I do. Of course, I don't remember anything,
Right.
until I was several years old. But I know I remember that the things I remember was that my grandma and grandpa were very, very sad that their boys were killed, and took a toll on them.
Yeah. So you're remembering the emotions that you're surrounded with. Yeah.
Jim, I remember too in interviews we did early on years ago, you said some of the recollections you got from people who knew your dad and your uncles, including the handful of Juneau survivors. What they told you, you said, these are my memories. I don't know if you remember that or not. That's
Yeah.
what
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not so much a day or a month or a year. It's the emotional toll that you're experiencing with your mother and Tom and Alita, your grandparents. It's just, yeah, it's amazing. There's a lot of comments here. Everyone's thanking you, Mr. Sullivan, for being here. And should we continue on with there's just a few more in this PowerPoint segment. So we have another few slides after that, but you want to carry on? All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's see. So
this next letter I included because it is the first mention of, it's the legend begins, right? So this is a letter that Joe wrote to his friend Paul Hamilton from the motorcycle club. It's postmarked January 26, 1942.
Wait,
Remember
hold on. This is the letter with their coming back, right? And this says the 5 Sullivan brothers coming up your driveway.
No, we already read that one. That's
yes.
Frank's friend Barney. On the right-hand side of the screen is this letter that Joe is writing to his friend Paul. So Paul, all right. So I'm using my mouse to point on the screen, but I know you can't see it. I need to stop that. It says, "Dear Ham and gang." Ham is Paul's nickname. His last name is Hamilton. So this letter is postmarked January 26, 1942. Remember, they're at the commissioning in New York on the 14th of February. So I'll just read like a quick line from this one. I'm pulling it up on my own computer. I was talking to an ensign, a big shot, the other day. From the way he talked, all 5 of us brothers are going to get on the same ship. That's at the very bottom of this letter. That's all I had to read from that letter. I mean, that's the first mention. And then on the second page, he goes to say, they think they're going to get assigned to a minesweeper, is on the second page. And then he goes on and on and on about what a minesweeper is. But obviously that didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this down, and then we have another PowerPoint here. All right, this is cool. Amazing. What a photo.
Yeah, this was taken probably also, I don't know Patrick Henry's enlistment date, but he enlisted right after Pearl Harbor. You want to talk about that, Shane?
Well, sure. We've got the youngest of the Sullivan. So we have Tom Sullivan on sitting down on the left-hand side with I love those hats. I mean, come on. That's fabulous. We've also seen George earlier in the PowerPoint. All right. He's the one on the far right with the glasses when the boys were young. And I think it was Frank wasn't in the photograph, but they're all crowded around him, maybe at 8 and 10 years old. But in the middle there, you'll see a first-class engineman. And that is the youngest of Tom's brothers, Patrick. One of the amazing stories is that when DD 537 was commissioned, Patrick was aboard as part of the commissioning crew. So he was on the ship that was honoring his 5 nephews, which is just an astounding story.
Pat, did you tell me that you heard from someone that Alita was actually pushing for him to serve aboard Juneau?
Well, yeah, I did a blog post on Patrick Henry Sullivan for the museum website, and I found some Courier articles that said Alita tried to get him on the Juneau, but it had set off and put off before he could. So we could have had 6 Sullivans gone, but he did get up to the Sullivans, which got a nickname the Good Samaritan because ironically it participated in a large number of rescues of downed flyers and seamen, especially during Typhoon Cobra, where some of its sister ships were sunk.
That would have been unbelievably That would have been. Now, at first, I'm thinking maybe it's the Juneau, the one that was constructed shortly afterwards. But you're saying CL-52.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
So now, now we're aboard Juneau, right? She does her. Do you know what month she does her shakedown in? Is it February yet? There, Shane.
Yeah, she probably had her builders and shakedown shortly after. Oh, but the builders would have been before. The builders shakedown cruise would have been before. For the ship's company, it would have been shortly afterwards. And they're testing everything, and it might be a week or two long that they're out in, the Atlantic now, leaving from Kearney, New Jersey, and they are out testing everything, testing all the pipes, testing all the valves, shaking the ship down.
So this photograph, in addition to some other, the one photograph on Juneau you saw at the beginning of the presentation, as well as Captain Swenson's government passport, the following collection of Swenson photos and artifacts throughout the rest of this presentation have over the years been generously donated to this museum by the families, the descendants of Captain Swenson and his daughter Cecilia. So the Swenson and Anderson families. So I want to call that out. Every time you see something Swenson, that comes from those families. So Swenson in April takes Juneau down to Annapolis to visit his son, Bob. So that's Bob on the right, the captain in the center, and his nephew Fred on the left. And this is the last meeting of the captain and his son.
Are we to presume that he's at the U.S. Navy Academy, Bob, right?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, good. Yeah, no. He's got his midshipman anchors on there. That's great. And then the captain with his 4 stripes.
Yes.
Very nice. Okay, thank you.
In May, I think in May, so Juneau goes back to New York to refit.
Mm-hmm.
And the crew take their last stateside leave. So once Juneau after this, Juneau's going to go down and blockade French ships and do ASW in the Caribbean. Juneau never comes back stateside. She transits the Panama Canal and goes right to the Pacific. Doesn't go up to San Diego, none of that. This is the last time that her crew gets an extended liberty. So on the left there is Red and Margaret Yarros in Pittsburgh. And on the right is sitting on Madison's lap is Jim here. And then Al is way off to the right there. And in the full version of this picture, there's actually, you can see a little, like a centimeter off to the right of the frame. They actually have a picture of Bill Ball on that sideboard. But these pictures were both taken the same day, half a country away, on May 24th, 1942. Everybody's last trip in the States.
It would be great if Mr. Sullivan, if you still had that Dixie Cup cap that you're wearing.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Exactly.
And again, Alita with a smile on her face.
Yeah.
So this was the woman on the left that you've talked about in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Yes.
Am I pronouncing your last name incorrectly, Kelly?
I think it's Jaros.
Jaros?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
I will double check though, because with my priest friend, but it might be Jaros.
I'm going to keep calling it Yaros by
Yes.
mistake, even though I've heard. I'm so sorry. That's just
That's
the way.
all right.
The rest of the night.
What are you talking about?
So that Margaret Jaros, the one that
Yeah,
Red was
It was Jaro.
Jaros.
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 Yeah, wow, I've been saying it wrong for a couple of years now.
So you've been softening the J, Yaros, and it's Jaros, right? Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So Juneau goes off to the Solomons, and just real quick, because we don't have time to go into detail about this. In September, she's going to be part of the task force that's built around the carrier Wasp. Wasp is going to be sunk on, Shane, help me, the 15th of September?
Yeah, that sound just off the top of my head. That sounds right. Yeah, 14, 15.
Yeah. At the very beginning of this program, you showed a picture of Juneau with sailors all over her decks. That picture was taken, I think, on the 15th, 16th, or 17th at Espiritu Santo.
Yes,
And those are survivors from WASP,
Wasp. Yep,
back, right?
and that's September 14 or 15. Yep.
Yeah. So she departs Espiritu Santo on the 17th. That's the last time that she's at that port. Now, before she leaves, she offloads all non-essential flammable materials, right? And this is a whole process, a well-established process. And they warehouse them on shore. One of several things that they offload is the floor mat that you can see at the bottom of this picture in our Juneau exhibit in the Veterans Museum. So this floor mat was removed from Juneau on the 15th, 16th, or 17th of September at Espiritu Santo. This was picked up by a guy who worked at a minesweeper repair station there, and he mailed it home. And this was donated to our museum about 5 years ago.
Mm.
We were able to confirm this story because in Juneau, Alaska, in their city museum there, they have an identical floor mat that was picked up by an officer who was moving through the New Hebrides. It's not a standard Navy floor mat. It's pretty small. It doesn't have USS in front of Juneau. So we're thinking, and it's like a real simple, like latch hook style construction. So I guess our current theory is that it's like some Navy Mothers donation or something like something the Navy Mothers Club made or something like that. Because it's non-standard. But with that corroborating story from Juneau, Alaska, we feel very strongly that these two stories line up. So this actually was removed from Juneau the last time she was at Espiritu Santo.
Right.
And after that, she's in the task force built around Hornet. Hornet is sunk in October at the Coral Sea. That nasty business where she misinterprets the signal. She goes to Enterprise. That's very embarrassing. Hugely demoralizing for the crew. They were very, very embarrassed because for everybody else in the task force, it looked like Juneau had simply quit the battle.
And that's this photograph, right? Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah, I think because it was taken in the broader photo, you can see sort of the inside of the cockpit of the plane, taking the picture. Can you even? Am I making this up in my head? Can you see the carrier in the original version of this photo?
I think off in the distance, yes, potentially. Like in the upper right-hand corner, I could try and check that out real quick, but yeah, I think so. And it's taken from a plane, and they have the clock in the corner, to say they give the time.
Please, the chronometer.
Yes. Okay, where are we here? Let's go back to this one. Yes.
This their last port is Noumea. They leave that on the 8th. And the crew send their last letters and their last photographs home all across the country. This is the last photograph ever taken of Captain Lyman K. Swenson and the last photograph ever taken of Executive Officer Commander Bob Moore. I hope it's not Bill Moore. It's Moore in any case. This was taken on the occasion of Captain Swenson's, Swenson's 50th birthday in October. And that cake was sent up to him as a surprise from the crew. The original photo is about the size of a postage stamp, and he included it in the last, at least as far as we can tell, the last letter he ever posted. That's next.
Yeah.
And there it is. That is postmarked, post-dated November 8th, 1942, the last day they were in port. And the last letter he ever wrote was to his daughter, Cecilia. Enclosed is a check for $50, which I wish you would use to brighten up Christmas for your mother, Maria, Fred, Robert, and yourself. I will be thinking of you and wishing I were where I could be with you. My mail has been very slow in arriving. I am hopefully awaiting a letter from you, your father, Lyman. And on the back, of course, because he's a sailor still, he writes, do not cash before 1 December.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pointy end.
Mhm.
And is this could be the day, it could be apocryphal, that the CO brought the Roger brothers and the Sullivan brothers one last attempt to try and separate them. I've heard November 8th as the day because, yeah, that's when they're steaming away to go to Guadalcanal.
Can't be later than that. So
It can't be later than that. There you
Yeah.
go. Interesting.
I don't think we need to go into too much detail about the battle.
Right.
Suffice it to say, the task force that Juneau was a part of who were essentially sent into the jaws of death in a desperate battle to prevent a Japanese bombardment group from showing up off Guadalcanal and bombarding Henderson Field. So this group of American cruisers and destroyers go up against this Japanese bombardment group of battleships and cruisers and destroyers. It is, and I don't know how you quantify this, almost certainly one of the most intense naval actions of the Second World War. And I think I can say that without a hyperbole. The whole thing happens at night. The Americans have radar, but Admiral Dan Callahan does not exactly understand how to best utilize it. Again, this is so early in the war. Remember, the Sullivan brothers have 4 weeks training. So do most of the other fresh enlisted men in the Navy at this point. This is 1942. So what follows is this remarkably close quarter, as one survivor said, a barroom fight with the lights out. Fight between these two groups, and the ranges are so close. Most of this battle happens inside Japanese long lance torpedo arming range, right? So few Japanese destroyers are shooting torpedoes at any American ships. One that does land, one that does strike its mark, is a torpedo fired by the Japanese destroyer Amatsukaze that strikes Juneau in the forward fire room on the port side a little after 2 a.m. This battle happens in the middle of the night in the dark. Juneau then has to drop out and quit the battle. The forward fire room is flooded. The next day, she'll never make any better than 13 knots. 17 men are killed in the forward fire room. There are hundreds of injuries elsewhere on the ship. When the ship is struck by the torpedo, she sort of leaps out of the water, and the hull whips, and it throws men who are standing on deck into the air. They land back down on the deck. They injure themselves. We know from the doctor who ultimately survives the sinking that George Sullivan had sustained some kind of back injury when this torpedo struck. The next day, the surviving American ships all regroup. They turn south. They're headed back for Noumea, I think. They're headed back for Button, right? They're limping along as fast as the slowest vessel can proceed. The destroyers are out of depth charges in large parts. A lot of equipment isn't really functioning. Juneau is not zigzagging, otherwise she can't keep up with the rest. Juneau's doctor's name is O'Neill, right, guys? No. He and 3 pharmacist mates are sent to go tend to men on the San Francisco, which had gotten horribly mangled in the battle. Again, this battle happened in such close quarters that enemy vessels the combatants were free to choose which portions of the ship they targeted. So if you go to Naval History and Heritage Command website and look up pictures of the damage to San Francisco, it's all localized to the bridge. Like they blew the bridge right out of this vessel. Killed the captain, killed Admiral Callahan. It was a mess.
Yeah.
So on Juneau, Chief Oberender and the Black Gang down in the engineering spaces are working all morning to keep the engines alive, keep the ship limping along at 13 knots. Perhaps Red Sullivan was among them. We know that he started out because of interviews that the historian Jack Satterfield did in the 90s with survivors. We know that he started out in the engineering spaces, but that all the brothers were striking for gunner's mate, right? Except for George, who was already gunner's mate second class, and Frank, who was a coxswain, right, because of their previous service. So maybe Red was in the engineering spaces on the morning of the 13th. The rest of the other brothers, except for George and Frank, were probably doing damage control below decks. George was lying down at his battle station at the depth charge racks. So if you go online and you look up footage of Juneau's wreck, a lot of time is spent lingering around the fantail, with the ROV is around the fantail trying to find the name Juneau all spelled out on the fantail, right? You can see depth charge racks in that footage. That's George's battle station. So he was taking a nap on the fantail. And we don't really know where the rest of the brothers were, but like I said, everybody else was below. Frank might have been topside as a coxswain. Sometimes they serve as runners during battles. He could have been on the bridge with Captain Swenson. We don't know. But at 11:01, the Japanese destroyer I-26 intercepts this crippled convoy headed back from Maya, fires a spread of torpedoes. We're not really sure how many, but at least 2, intended for San Francisco. Different ships in the convoy see the torpedoes at different times. Some maneuvering is attempted. The torpedoes miss San Francisco, pass through her wake, and they both strike Juneau. For the longest time, we only confirmed that one torpedo had struck Juneau about amidships, probably just ahead of the forward fire room, but near where the other torpedo struck, because just ahead of the forward fire room are the forward magazines. Subsequent examination of the wreck has proved that Juneau was struck by 2. The second torpedo struck the fantail right below George's battle station. I see you frowning, Shane. Do I have that right? We both
yes, I'm sorry. I'm also reading the comments and stuff like that. So, yes, that new information that was just stuff that we had learned at the symposium in Buffalo, that there could have been, based on more analysis. Like, the wreck was found in 2018. Now they've had time to look at the photogrammetry, the 3D modeling, and they, at least the underwater archaeologists, Blair Atchison and others at NHHC, Naval History and Heritage Command, believe that there were 2 torpedoes that struck the Juneau, causing that catastrophic explosion. One of the mounts goes over San Francisco, I think it is, and disintegrates, and that's why you have this very unique bow and stern, right, lying on top of each other. And how's Mr. Sullivan doing, Kelly?
He's good. Dad, are you doing okay?
Okay, good.
Okay.
Good. I mean, people can read more about the sinking, and that's really well documented.
That was interesting at the symposium to learn about too, because we did not know that it had been hit. That was something new for me to hear.
Yeah.
I was surprised, Dad. I had not told you about that, but I just learned that.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
I have a quick question here.
Yes.
I apologize if Nick's coming to this already, but did we know if any of them survived the sinking? Were any of them in the water after the ship went down?
You mean the brothers?
Yes.
Confirmed George Sullivan. okay, so maybe 100+ men go into the water, survive Juneau's detonation. And suffice it to say, 7 days later, only 10 come out.
Mhm.
Of those 10, 3, 4 say that they saw George. The stories are all a little different. George passes away sometime between the 2nd and 5th day adrift. There are conflicting stories, right? Pat, if you want to talk about this, I know you know this better than I do. But
Well, Al Hine, who was one of the survivors, gave an interview to American Heritage Magazine in 1956. And a lot of these guys were going delirious because they were drinking seawater and they were fighting with each other. And according to Al Hine, at one point, George just said, "I'm going to take a bath," and he jumped off. He jumped out of the life net, and Al said, "I saw the white flat of his body flash, and a shark grabbed him, and that's the last I saw of him." They were in shark-infested waters. That's why a lot of these guys didn't survive. Plus, they had injuries.
In the
And that was the talk around. According to my mom, that was the talk around town too. But
Yeah. Let's bring it back to now the family, right? So we do have some slides of. Let's see. We're just gonna kind of yes. So this is a very poignant exhibit that you guys have at the Grout Museum District.
Yeah, remember Nellie Turner, the other color guide opposite Alita and the Navy Mothers Club?
Mm-hmm.
Before Christmas time, she wrote each brother a Christmas letter. So early December. I think there's a postmark like December 9 or something. Amid the rumors, other sailors writing their families in Waterloo saying, "Isn't it sad what happened to the Sullivan brothers?" Amid the wild rumors, these 5 letters are returned to Nellie Turner, all marked return to sender. They're still sealed. We've never opened them. And this was one of the early clues that prompts Alita to write her heart-wrenching letter to the Navy. I think she writes the letter to the Navy saying, this talk is all over town now that my boys are gone. I think she writes this letter on January 3rd, 1 year exactly from when the boys left. 1 year exactly. And these are one of these early clues that something might have gone wrong, these letters right here.
These were potentially Christmas letters, correct?
Yeah, I hope I said that.
Yeah.
You may have. I just missed it.
Christmas cards. That's one of my favorite artifacts in the museum because it's plus they've never been opened. So it's definitely one of my favorite artifacts here at the museum.
Yeah. And it's great to put a picture to her name now. We talk about Nellie Turner here in Buffalo as well, but I've never seen a photograph of her until today.
I knew her.
Yeah. Did you remain close to her, Mr.
Yes.
Sullivan, throughout your life?
Yes, I did.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And she remained close to your grandmother, I can only assume.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. So poignant those letters are, and that you've never opened them, as you said earlier.
Never will.
Yeah, never will.
I don't even know if I want to have them X-rayed, right? Because that seems like
exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So after Alita wrote that letter, the Navy decided that they would inform her. So everybody else in the crew gets telegrams, MIA telegrams. All the other crew members' families find out that they receive their telegrams between about January 10 and January 13, right? The captain's family gets their telegram on like December 10th or something, a whole month earlier. But the Navy decides that they're going to send a naval officer to Alita's house to inform her in person. They give the job to Lieutenant Commander Truman Jones, the man who inducted them in Des Moines. So he drives to Waterloo and delivers the news in person on January 11th, 1943.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Alita has the terrible job of filling out these casualty reports.
Yeah, these are stored in the state archive.
Yeah, I'll zoom in a little bit
Yeah,
here.
these are stored in the state archives in Des Moines, where Des Moines, once they got word that an Iowan had been killed in service or was missing in service, they would mail you these forms, and if you obliged, you'd fill them out, mail them back. So she's listed all of her boys as packing house workers under civilian occupation, and has listed their offspring, if they have any, their education level. If she could summarize their service history, she did that as well. Any decorations they're entitled to.
Now we highlighted in the middle Albert's because there's Jimmy listed. Obviously, no others have any name of children, if any. Those are blank, and they say NA potentially. And there's Catherine Roof's name, Mr. Sullivan's mother. And when they were married, May 11th, 1940. Continue on?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. So after the news, I know this picture. So
Amazing.
That's Genevieve. And this is, I forget who owns this photograph. This is a news photograph. But the poor family was bombarded by reporters. And in fact, Pat, which survivor wrote Alita? Was it Al Hine who wrote Alita? No,
Lester Zook, who, in my view, is an American hero because he was the one that kept some semblance of order among the handful of survivors. He was recuperating at hospital in Great Lakes, and he wrote Alita and said, and he knew Frank and George before because they were same rank and they had the same position in the Navy. And he said, he wrote Alita and said, all hope of your boys coming back is gone. I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of what the letter said. And Lester is a great guy. He served 20 years in the Navy after that. He retired as a lieutenant commander in 1964, came back to every event here. And he was at the commissioning. And a year after the commissioning, he got hit by a car in a crosswalk in Reno, Nevada, and got killed. But he really he got what was left of those guys. He's the one that got them through. And that's not talked about a lot.
He died on November 13th, right, Pat?
Yeah, gosh, that's right, Kelly. It was right.
Yeah, he died today.
So weird.
He did.
Yeah.
He died on November 13th.
He was hit by a car, and it was on a November 13th.
Yeah. A crosswalk in Reno.
God. I've got chills now, as everyone probably does who's watching and listening.
Yeah, if there's a Private Ryan out of the Juneau, it's Lester Zook.
Yeah.
Great man.
Yeah, he's a great man.
Thank you for sharing all of that.
But Alita receives Mr. Zook's letter while her house is stuffed full of reporters. She opens it and reads it in front of them. For all the world to see, and they snap a picture of her as she's reading this letter, informing her, I know it's MIA, but they're not coming home, right?
And is that the one where she has her hand on her head?
Yeah, she's holding the letter and she's got her hand here. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are courier photos because we had glossies of them at the paper, and we've got them at the museum now. There was a box in the courier morgue library of glossies and stuff, and we got them over here.
That's right. When the Courier got bought, they got rid of the photo archive, so we ran over there and snatched up a bunch of boxes.
Yeah.
Someone had asked about his name. I think they're talking about Lester Zook.
Oh, yeah, I can write it in the comments there for.
Thank you.
Lester Zook.
Yeah, this is, I mean, Genevieve is in mourning dress, right? Obviously, Catherine Mary's dress is darkened. Do we have any provenance on when this was taken?
Not me. This was a photo of a photo that was among Pearl Schrader's photos.
Oh, God.
But Pat says, you reckon it's a Courier photo, Pat?
Yeah, I've seen this a long time ago. It's all these glossies, a lot of them are Courier photos. Courier was pretty involved in supporting the family. They had a fund drive, and they had a lot of access. And I know it just was a terrible, the press, the pressure of all the media stuff was a lot of pressure on the family. But the Courier kind of was, they were inside there, and the Register did too. Register has photos that we never had access to. So Des Moines Register, I mean.
Yeah, I had not seen this picture before today, and it's an unbelievable.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, it gives such insight into the trauma. And your grandmother looks so beautiful there, Kelly.
Yeah, she
Even
is.
still, she looks beautiful. She's a beautiful woman.
Well, Kelly allowed me to interview her about a year before she passed away, and I asked her what she thought about the movie, and she didn't like it because she said the actress that played her wasn't good looking enough.
Thank you, Pat. We needed that little levity there. Oh, wow, that's funny.
Indeed.
Did you see the woman who played me? No way. Oh, I like that. That's great.
Yeah.
So now we're moving through January into February. And
Between
what's going
February and June, the government sent the Sullivan family on a war bond drive. So in those 4 months, they went to 300 factories. So 300 times or something like that. You show up, you get a tour of the factory. That's the lower right-hand corner there. Tom's talking about tools. He's talking about what he knows.
Grandpa talking about tools. He's got tools. There's Grandpa Sullivan. Tom Sullivan holding a tool.
Yep.
And there's Tom addressing the workers at whatever plant this is. These pictures are from the personal photo albums of Alita Sullivan, which are currently in. And I've seen some notes. Okay, all right. We'll make sure we get. Okay. So Billy got those.
Oh, okay.
And then
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha.
We'll make sure.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then so that's Tom addressing the workers there. He always addresses them in that old WPA style, the fraternal language of the American Union worker. He addresses them as brothers all the time when he makes the speeches. And Genevieve and Alita would speak to them as well. And actually now, if you want to play that final clip, we have an audio clip of Alita borrowing Jack Kolak's recorder, and she's practicing her speech that she gives at factories. It's a very candid recording. She's clearly very self-conscious. She sort of giggles at the beginning of it, but it gives you a good idea of the speech that they have to repeat again and again and again. And then, of course, the tour, the speeches are followed by they all sit down and they sell war bonds to the workers.
Shane, unmute your mic.
There we go. Okay. Thank you.
Hello, fellow workers. It's an honor to be here today. Yes, I lost my brothers, and I miss them terribly. I miss them more than words can say, but I remember their last words. Just keep looking up. Yes, I truly remember their last so well. I saw them off facing Waterloo. I saw them climb aboard the train in their blue jackets. a smile on their face, a tear in their eye. They had a job to do for the country. They did that job. Now, workers, I have a job to do. A job of picking up and carrying on where they left off. I know you're all with me to help me do that job. So keep up the swell job you've been doing, and if possible, work just a little bit harder. And when you're tired and you want to take a day off, please don't do that. For that one day may mean several lives are lost over there because the boys didn't have the materials they needed so badly. I know the boys over there think of home a lot. They think of us back here, wondering what we're doing today, wondering if we're fishing for them. Yes, workers, we too can think of them. We can think of them over there, wondering what they're doing, wondering if they have enough to eat, if they're cold, if they're suffering, or if they're in pain. Yes, we can think, but we don't realize that those boys go through. Since we've been on this tour, we've had the privilege of going through hospitals, meeting the wounded that have come back, seeing them suffer. Fellow workers, those boys, give up the comforts of home. They give up their freedom, yes, and some of them give their lives. Mother, Dad, and I don't want sympathy. All we ask is that you work to stay on the job. Do your best. When the material delivers to the needed best, now thanks to nothing in my heart doing. And the boys.
The end of that recording starts to break down because she's recorded past the outside of the disc, and the needle's cut into the paper label at the center of the disc.
Yeah.
I couldn't get that audio out of there, even though I can't tell what it says. The university helped us pull that audio.
Amazing. And I brought up this photo because it actually shows her speaking. I believe you said in Seattle.
That's right. So she joins the Waves in June 14th of 43. And they send her on an additional bond drive to Seattle. She raised $150,000.
Good for her. So, of course, I did skip over. Here's, as you're saying, shaking hands with workers at a factory as part of the propaganda tour. So, I mean, if they're doing 300 tours in 4 months, I mean, they're doing multiple factories a day, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It must have been exhausting.
Yeah, exhausting.
Between all that, Alita christens the Navy tug Tawassa in February.
Oh, yep.
Here's Sullivan's in April.
Yep, and here's this beautiful, beautiful photograph of Alita, Tom, and Genevieve, the 4th of April, 1943. You know, James is wearing the T-shirt, USS the Sullivans, in honor of tonight's. So let's bring that up. And yeah, there it is there, as you can see. And now the story shifts a little bit to the Sullivans, which is here in Buffalo. Obviously, there's a lot of videos about it, and we've bent everyone's ear for a long while on this very important and poignant story. So if you want to learn more about the Sullivans, you know, in her service in World War II, Korea, and leading up through 1965. Thank you, James. I appreciate it. You know, the story is readily available, and I can share that, of course, if you have more questions. I could do other videos and things about the Sullivans, the ship, and even through that time, the family does visit the ship multiple times. Alita, as Kelly says, and she can say it better than me, that Alita as a sponsor is her inspiration and should be everyone's inspiration as a sponsor. She was so close to the crew. They would call her Mom Sullivan. She would say, "My boys" on DD 537. And so keeping it to the family as opposed to the ship, we can continue on with the family stories and hearing Kelly's and Jimmy's, Mr. Sullivan's, as we move through the 1950s and 60s and 70s, if there's things to contribute. There might be still a few more slides.
But yeah, I want to be sensitive to everybody's time here. So again, suffice it to say, Okay, so yeah, all right. So this is I think Los Angeles
Mhm.
in November. The family's invited to come to the film production at Stage 14. Uh, Apparently, the studio filmed the sinking sequence on November 13th. I don't know if that means they filmed the entire sinking sequence in the movie on the 13th, or it was several days that included the 13th, right? But apparently, the family was there for some of the filming of those scenes. And this is the family arriving, I think, in Los Angeles, being greeted by the American Legion. They're going to participate in the Armistice Day parade on the 11th.
Hmm. Yeah, very nice. So we probably have of Genevieve on the left, Alita with that beautiful sun hat on the in the center left. Do we know that gentleman right in the middle? Is he the director of the film, maybe, or
He doesn't look like Lloyd Bacon to me,
okay,
but it's not like I'm some Lloyd Bacon expert.
okay, and then of course Tom on the far right.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to point. So the photograph on the lower right is actually very, very important that we show. So these are Tom and Alita and Genevieve, of course, on set at 20th Century Fox for the film. They're there as technical advisors, and then there are two technical advisors behind them. The guy on the right is named, I can't ever remember his name. He was a corpsman on Guadalcanal. The guy on the left, you can see the crutch under his right arm. That's LTJG Chuck Wang. So of the 600 men who went into the water from Juneau, he's the only officer to come out alive. And he served as a technical advisor on the film and was, as far as I can determine, the first sailor to address in writing Thomas and Alita as mom and pop.
Oh,
A Navy tradition that continued for the rest of their lives.
Yes, it did.
do you know where this officer was stationed? Probably not, right?
Oh, Chuck, at this point, no, I have no idea.
Yeah.
He's got those crutches. He's going to walk on those crutches for the rest of his life. He
Wow.
dies in 1985, and he actually has I think his right leg amputated in 1980.
Hmm. So I wonder if going way back in the PowerPoint to the commissioning booklet, if he's listed,
Yeah.
and then it would list, if he was a gunnery officer or was he administrative, things like that. And that might, because it's pretty rare that he would be the only officer that survived. Not rare, but, it may be due to his placement on the ship.
Yeah, he was a torpedo officer.
Oh, so you knew it. Okay. I thought you said you didn't know. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, I said torpedo while you were talking. That probably sounded like I said I don't know.
Bingo. That's what, okay, very good. Yeah, that's what it would be. Okay. And then we have a ticket from the film. Is that
Yeah,
right?
the movie premiered in New York in February and somewhere in California, I assume Hollywood, in February, but then had its Midwest premiere here in Waterloo at the Paramount Theater on March 9th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Pat, do you want to talk about this?
That's Lester Zook on the left. Gentleman in the center is Wyatt Butterfield. They're both on the same LifeNet survivors among about a handful. This looks like this was in 1988 when they rededicated the convention center in town here after the Sullivan brothers. And judging from the photos, I'm saying this is right in front of the old Montgomery Ward's building where the Waterloo Courier's presses were. So the convention center would just be to the left and across the street from where this photo is.
Oh, very good. Thank you. And here's a photo of the convention center, 5 Sullivan brothers. And then what do we have on the left here?
Pat knows the most about that.
Well, this was the dedication of the memorial at Sullivan Park. And it was the result of urban renewal that the house was taken down, but the memorial was put up there. And I think if I remember right from clippings, this was in 1964, but Kelly and Jim might know that better than me. That's just standing out in my head anyway.
Yeah. That's Alita on the left and Genevieve's in the middle, and Tom's on the right.
I believe Tom passed in 65.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So shortly after this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the amazing thing about this photo, I was just seeing it for the first time tonight, and unfortunately, I don't have the ability to zoom in. But to see the wear on Genevieve's face is amazing. She, she's maybe 10 years, 11 years until her own passing. So she's 45 or 46 here, maybe something like that. And yeah, just the aging process on her is amazing. What else do we have here?
Someone had a question. Someone had a question. Oh, look at that, about the second house. The house that they lived in was 98 Adams Street. And that was the house they lived in when the boys enlisted and when they passed away. After the war, they moved to Aiken. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So they tore the house. The house is not there now, right? Is that correct? And the Sullivan's Park is still there, and that's the dedication to the park.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah. That's when Dad likes that picture. That's when I christened the second ship named after my grandfather and his brothers, USS Sullivan's DDG-68, which is an early Burke Aegis guided missile destroyer. The ship was built the best shipyard in the country, Bath Iron Works. Yep.
Nice. And they are currently in dry dock now as the ship's maintenance period, correct?
Yes, they are. Yep. She's getting a facelift and all the good things. Yeah. She's at the spa. My girl's at the spa.
Do you, Kelly, want to discuss, your inspiration or what you learned from Alita about sponsoring a vessel and what you took away from how she interfaced with ship's company and officers?
She was my role model. I grew up hearing stories about how involved she was with, as Dad talked about, they called her the boys. I remember sitting on DD 537 and in the mess decks, they had letters that she had written to the crew. And I remember sitting there with my daughter Kelsey and reading the letters that she had written the crew. So she was my inspiration for wanting to be a very active, involved sponsor. So I was young when I christened the ship. I was 23, just out of college. And I did in my presentation tonight, I was telling the group that when the Navy asked me to christen the ship in 1988 when we renamed the Conway Center the Sullivan Center. So I remember being at that event. We were all dressed up and, everyone was there, and it was a Sullivan reunion, I believe, too, that weekend. And I was in high school, and here comes this Navy guy asking me to be a sponsor of a ship. And I was just thinking about where the next kegger was I was supposed to be at. I wasn't at the kegger.
Mr. Sullivan, yeah, there you go. You raised a kegger.
Yes, I did.
What keg am I missing out on tonight? But,
very nice.
so I was in high school, and then they built the ship, and I graduated from college and went out and did that. But it was a very. I always tell people that the only time I've ever felt that kind of emotion when I christened that ship was when I gave birth to my kids. It was extremely, extremely emotional, because I just kept thinking about how my great grandma must have felt when she did that, and she says, in the movie they have her saying, "Tom, our boys are back at sea again," and that's really kind of what it's like, it's their spirit back out there. But that day that we christened the ship, it was kind of a cloudy day, and then all of a sudden the clouds parted, sun came out, and I christened it. My father-in-law, Dick Lochran, had come up with this idea of what I should say, because you're just supposed to say I christened the Sullivans. That's all you do. And he had this big thing that he wanted me to say, and I was so nervous anyway. And there were so many people there. It was just a beautiful day and hundreds of people there. And I was like, I don't know that I can do all that. I don't know if I can do all that, because everyone was teasing me, saying, well, if you whiff, then you give the ship and the crew bad luck forever. And if the bottle doesn't break, then the ship and the crew have bad luck. So I had all this stuff. And I got up there and I said, my father-in-law came up with these ideas. In honor of my grandfather and his brothers, I christened thee the Sullivans. May the luck of the Irish always be with you and your crew. And I just smashed it and did not break the bottle. I broke the bottle big time, and as you can see, I did not whiff. And if you do,
there you go.
yeah, and if you do some research on DDG 68, you'll learn about the luck that
Yes.
the boys have given.
Very true.
Anyway,
Yeah.
there you
What do
are.
what do we have here, folks?
When the museum opened, yes,
Yep. 2008.
that's you,
Nice.
Dad. Dad,
Oh, that's you, Mr. Sullivan. Yeah, that is. I see that now.
he's got his Navy hat on.
Yeah,
He's cutting the ribbon.
nice.
I'm wearing some Navy man's coat. Is that Captain Ronquados?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
And then what do we have here?
That's Murray Davidson Jr., I think.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's Murray Davidson Jr. holding the Gold Star flag, like the Gold Star flag, before he donated it to the museum. And in the center, there it is, on exhibit. We 25 years ago now, we had that flag conserved by the Northern States Battle Flag Conservation Center, along with the Civil War flag of ours. And they did a great job of cleaning it up, repairing. I don't know if you can see it in this photo real well, but it's really, really frayed at the fly, the furthest point from the hoist, from the flagpole, right?
Mhm.
And they shored that all up, and it's very, very well protected now. It's in a good condition.
So was that a traditional blue star, and then they put the gold on top?
That's right.
Yeah, okay. Because I didn't know if it was just straight 5 gold star flag, and but that's what you do. You unfortunately take the gold and put it over the blue.
Oh, somebody's asking what the flag means. My goodness gracious. Yeah, I forgot myself.
Oh
here.
yeah.
If you have an active service member in your family, you put a flag in your front window with a blue star on it. If you have more than one, you have as many stars as corresponds to however many people from that household are currently in service. If any of these people are killed, or die in service, generally you replace, or you put over that blue star a gold star.
Yep. So that's the only family in American history that has a 5 gold star flag, if I'm not right off the top.
No, well, since the tradition was established, there are 6 brothers from Toolsboro, Iowa, who were killed in the Civil War.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that.
Sullivans
But
are
not
the
all 5, not 5 at one time.
five
Right,
at one time.
right.
That's the big thing. Is the Sullivans? The tragedy is because they lost 5 all at once at one time.
Yeah.
But we have had ones that lost 5 or more during the Civil War. Yeah. And that flag also, they made one for the Sullivans, DDG 68, and it flies on the active duty Sullivan ship. They're very proud to have. I can still remember, I can't remember which captain came, or maybe it was an executive officer that came up with the idea to fly a Gold Star flag on the Sullivan. So they love to fly that on the current ship.
And I saw a photo of that and had one summarily made for 537, which we fly now on 537 as well. It's certainly not battle flag size. I mean, that's a beautiful 15 by 20 or something We
Yeah.
just have a 4x6, but it still gets the message across. And unfortunately, in the wintertime, we have to take it down because we don't want it to get ruined. But in the summertime, if you come down to the Buffalo Naval Park, you'll see the 5 gold star flag, battle flag flying very proudly with the shamrock flag as well. So,
Shane, real quick also, isn't 537 and DDG 68, as far as we know, the only 2 vessels that are named for multiple people?
no, but they are the only ones with the word "the" in front of them.
Okay.
But the Sullivans, the 537s was the first plural.
Yes, the 537 was the first. I mean, you have, and right now you have another DDG for John S. McCain, right? That's the grandfather in World War II. That's the admiral in the Cold War, and then that's John McCain, the senator. So they all are represented in the John S. McCain, but it was the first named after, and the only with a participle "the" in front of it.
Technically, the current USS Mason is named for the crew collectively of the first USS Mason.
And that's the all African American ship, right? Yeah. Yeah, amazing. I think that might have wrapped up the photos. And what an unbelievably, how do you end something like this, or how do you summarize something like this? But Pat, what else do you have to offer? James, do you have other questions? Jimmy, how are you doing, Mr. Sullivan? You're good, yeah?
Yeah, I'm good.
Kelly, you're gonna have to take him out for a beer tonight now.
I know.
All right.
It's late. We got to get to bed.
Yeah, understood.
Kelly undersells herself a little bit because she actually served as an inspiration for Christy Vilsack, our former First Lady of Iowa, Governor Tom Vilsack's wife. Kelly's on the commissioning committee for the new USS Iowa submarine, of which Christy Vilsack is a sponsor. And Christy and Kelly did quite a bit of stuff together. They cleaned up the Iowa Veterans Home in Marshalltown with a crew from the Iowa after the derecho that went through our state. And I'm in a newspaper column group. Christy is a journalist, and she writes a column, and she thanks me periodically for doing stories every once in a while, updating on the status of the USS Sullivans and Kelly, because Kelly's such an inspiration to her. The other thing was when the Juneau's wreck was discovered on St. Patrick's Day 2018, and they broke the news to Kelly first. After I did the story, I got an email from a English professor of English in Sydney, Australia. He and his wife lived on Guadalcanal in the 60s, and they still saw the vestiges of war and all of that stuff. In Waterloo, this is a deeply held story, but we don't realize the reach or impact of it. This professor from Sydney sent me an email and said, "Please tell Kelly on behalf of all Aussies, thank you." They're considered national heroes in Australia because they died in defense of Australia. Because if Guadalcanal would have went, so would Australia. And it's impact we don't know. I was in the newsroom just working with there's a gentleman came from Ireland. He was going across country on an Ameripass and stopped and wanted to see all the stuff we had on the Sullivans. Irish guy. And just like it was really cool. And it was like a ready-made story for him. You just never know how wide and the depth of the impact this story is.
Yeah.
And just, the character of these folks right here,
That's right. James?
I certainly I have nothing else I can add to this. I just what a pleasure it has been to be a part of this with all of you. This has been absolutely incredible. And for those of you watching, please make sure you go and support these 2 museums. They have a plethora of information out there. I'm sure you probably have even more than what we've covered tonight, on the Sullivan family, and of course Shane with the ship. So that would be my message to everyone. Please support these museums. If you're in Waterloo, if you're in Buffalo, stop by, support the museums, and show them some love.
And please subscribe to All American Travels, James's YouTube channel. He's gone down the museumship path, but it's all travel, all history, photography, and please support him as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan, well done tonight. Thank you so much for being here and joining us. Kelly, it's always wonderful to see you. Have any final thoughts for the fans and viewers out there?
No.
You go.
No.
You go. You got a word to say. What do you say on November 13th, 83 years since your dad was killed? His brothers.
What do I say?
Yeah.
I say I'm sorry
Yeah.
that it happened, but what can I do? You know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's something too, like, even though it's a sad day, it's bittersweet for the family, we also need to celebrate what we do have. Like, the Sullivans are a symbol of all who sacrificed for our country. You know, yes, they lost 5 boys, but I have 327 sailors off the coast of Florida who missed the birth of their children, you know. And I have spouses that are back home in Florida taking care of the house while they're deployed for 9 months. So that sacrifice is everywhere all the time. And so the Sullivans are a way for us to honor all who serve our country and to continue to understand that we are blessed. You know, it's a tragedy what happened to our family, but I wouldn't have the big Navy family that I have. Right, Dad? We have a great Navy family.
Yes, we do.
So there have been so many blessings that we have had over the years because of their loss.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have grief, you have to find the good things in it. And I think Tom and Alita did an amazing job of that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I have friends who have lost children, and I've watched how it destroyed their lives. And the fact that they, you know, went on a war bond tour and went to 300 factories in 4 months is they're an inspiration. So they make me want to be a better person and to be patriotic and to do great things. And I think that's what we need to remember. And also, we live in the greatest country in the world. Don't watch the news because it'll tell you other things. But we have a great country, and the reason why we have such a great country is because of the men and women who have served our country. And I have the utmost respect for them and always will. All right.
Yeah, we can't. None of us can speak it the way you do, Kelly.
Well said.
Yeah.
The tragedy, but also the love that you receive from people, strangers. You know, it absolutely must be an inspiration to you.
Yeah.
To keep going. And I always think back to the letter or that article that was written in the American Way magazine where Alita mentions that she just wanted to go to her room, shut the curtains, shut the door, and just tell the world to go to hell.
Yes.
And the love that she felt from neighbors and family helped her see through that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nick, thank you so very much for your thorough. What else do you want to say?
Thank you for your patience, Shane.
Oh, was it that obvious, Nick? I don't know. No, it's all good. No, thank you very much. It's an unbelievable presentation. And now as I said earlier, you have everything ready to go, and you could just start giving this out in the community. And can thank you all, and Pat, James from All American Travels, Mr. Sullivan, Kelly, Nick, and to all of all of our viewers. Thank you so very much on this poignant day, 13 November, 83 years after the sinking and the loss. But let's remember, as Kelly said, we do live in the greatest country. Love your neighbor. Tell someone that has sacrificed that you care about them and you can understand their story. And that's, I guess, all I'll say. But thank you so very much, everyone, for being here. And again, one last shout out to Mr. Sullivan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you again soon.
Ready, Dad?